Beyond mist-covered hills and sapphire rivers lay the radiant kingdom of Lunaria. Its ivory towers gleamed under the sun, and its gardens bloomed with flowers brought from distant lands. Bells chimed gently in the mornings, and music often drifted through the streets. Yet behind the palace walls lived a sorrow no splendor could erase. Princess Althea, the only daughter of Lunaria's wise king and gentle queen, had never smiled. She was not cold, nor cruel. Her eyes were thoughtful, her movements graceful, her voice soft like falling petals. But joy never reached her lips. Festivals passed without delight. Songs faded unheard. Laughter echoed around her, never from her. She feels too deeply, the queen whispered. She listens to the world in silence, the king said, his heart heavy. Healers found no illness. Sages spoke of a soul waiting for something unnamed. So the king made a gentle proclamation. Whoever brings true joy to my daughter, true joy, not tricks or treasures, shall be honored by Lunaria. Many came. All failed, until a village girl arrived with nothing but sincerity. Far from Lunaria lived Leora, a girl known not for wealth but for kindness. She helped strangers without question, listened before speaking, and carried laughter as easily as breath. When she heard of the silent princess, she did not dream of reward. She wondered what loneliness lived behind such quiet eyes. With a small bag and her wooden flute, Leora traveled to the palace. When she met Princess Althea, she did not bow deeply or praise her beauty. She simply sat beside her and said, "Do you ever feel lonely in a place full of people?" For the first time, the princess looked directly at someone and felt seen. Leora never tried to force happiness. She shared moments, the laughing stream. She led Althea beyond palace walls to a hidden stream. When Leora slipped and splashed into the water, she laughed freely at herself. Althea's lips twitched. A fragile smile appeared, then faded. But something had stirred. The wrong stories. At night, Leora told stories but ended them absurdly. "And the dragon opened a bakery," she said solemnly. "That makes no sense." Althea replied, then laughed. The crooked kite. One windy afternoon, Leora's crooked kite soared wildly. She cheered like a child. Princess Althea laughed openly. The queen wept. The king pressed his hand to his heart. Lunaria rejoiced. From that day, Althea followed Leora everywhere. They painted together, snuck into kitchens, shared secrets beneath the stars. The king and queen summoned Leora. "We wish to give you a home near the palace," said the king. "A life of comfort," added the queen, but Althea held Leora's hand firmly. "Please," she said, "stay with me." After a thoughtful silence, the king smiled. "Then you shall be sisters of the heart." Though Leora's heart was brave, the palace was a world she did not yet understand. She laughed too loudly in echoing halls, forgot when to bow, and walked barefoot where silk slippers were expected. Forks confused her, royal greetings tangled her tongue, and sometimes she felt small, afraid her simplicity might embarrass the princess. But Althea never corrected her with pride. She guided her with laughter. Althea taught Leora how to greet nobles gracefully, how to move through courtly dances, and when silence spoke louder than words. In return, Leora taught Althea how to laugh without fear and sit on palace steps like an ordinary girl. One afternoon, Althea insisted Leora dress like a princess, just for fun. Althea chose a gown matching her own, braided Leora's hair with silver threads, and placed jewels upon her until they sparkled. Before the mirror, they burst into laughter at their reflection. They twirled through empty halls, slipped on polished floors, hid from servants, and pretended to rule the kingdom together. In those moments, the palace became home. One spring morning, when the orchards bloomed and the air carried the promise of change, Althea and Leora set out from Lunaria disguised as ordinary girls, simple cloaks upon their shoulders, dust upon their slippers, and freedom in their hearts. They traveled without titles, without ceremony, laughing freely at roadside markets and sharing bread with strangers. And along a winding road lined with wildflowers, they met a quiet traveler resting beneath an old oak tree, a book in his hand, and a horse grazing nearby. He introduced himself simply as Rowan. He spoke not of courts or crowns, but of stars, ancient maps, and forgotten libraries. Evenings soon found the three of them sharing fireside conversations. Althea and Rowan spoke easily of constellations and ideas too deep for crowded halls, forming a gentle friendship built on silence and understanding. But it was during a sudden storm that Rowan first sensed the truth. When bandits approached the road, Althea stood with a calm authority that startled even herself. Her voice was steady, her posture unmistakably regal. Leora, without hesitation, stepped slightly ahead of her, not in defiance, but in protection. Rowan noticed. Later, as rain softened the firelight and thunder rolled distantly, Rowan spoke quietly. "You walk like someone raised to rule," he said to Althea, his eyes thoughtful. "And you," he added, turning to Leora, "protect her like someone who loves her more than herself." Althea did not deny it. She only smiled. That night, Rowan confessed his own truth, that he too traveled in disguise, a prince who had grown weary of titles and desired to be known by his mind rather than his crown. From then on, honesty bound them. As days passed, Rowan's heart slowly turned toward Leora, not with sudden passion, but with deep admiration. He saw her give away her last coin to a hungry child. He watched her encourage Althea when fear flickered in her eyes. He noticed how she laughed freely, yet listened carefully, never seeking attention, only understanding. Once, when Rowan stumbled crossing a stream, Leora offered her hand, steady and warm. "Everyone needs help sometimes," she said simply. Those words stayed with him. One evening, beneath a sky heavy with stars, Rowan spoke softly to Althea. "Your friend," he said, "does not shine like a crown. She shines like a lamp that guides others home." Althea followed his gaze to Leora, who was quietly helping a stranger mend a torn saddle strap. In that moment, Althea understood. There was no jealousy, only gratitude. No loss, only love that wished to grow. She smiled, not the careful smile of a guarded princess, but the peaceful smile of a heart that had learned the truest form of joy. And on that quiet road, beneath starlight and truth, three destinies gently changed forever. But it was Leora's actions that touched his heart. Althea had once feared losing Leora to the palace, to duty, to the world, but now she realized something deeper. True friendship does not fade. When love grows, it transforms. When Rowan finally spoke his feelings to Leora, she was stunned. "I never thought anyone would see me that way," Leora whispered. Althea held her hands and smiled the smile that once seemed impossible. "You helped me find my smile," she said. "Let me help you follow your heart." There was no jealousy, only gratitude, only love strong enough to step aside without stepping away. Leora married to Rowan. Althea stood beside her, not as a princess above her, but as a sister beside her. She adjusted Leora's veil. She placed the jewels upon her neck. She whispered, "You are loved. Never forget that." The kingdom celebrated the marriage, but the truest moment came later, when the two women sat together in quiet once more. Nothing was lost. Everything had grown. Leora had gained a partner who loved her kindness. Althea had gained confidence, purpose, and peace. Their friendship did not end, it became part of the kingdom's foundation, the lasting light of their bond. Years later, when people spoke of Lunaria's prosperity, they did not speak first of kings or crowns. They spoke of two girls, one who could not smile and one who taught her smile. They spoke of a friendship so selfless that it made room for love, and a love so gentle that it never erased friendship. And Princess Althea, watching the kingdom flourish, would smile knowing that her greatest treasure had never been the throne, but the friend who walked beside her, until she learned how to walk on her own.